Hi, this is Lawyers Infohub. You're welcome to another great session. So today, I want to give you a tour of what a court looks like. This video is targeted towards the law students, but a young lawyer may learn one or two things from this video. So I'm going to show you an empty court and explain to you certain things that happen in court, the sitting arrangement, the do's and the don'ts in a court. So follow me on this journey. So this is a typical court. This is an empty court. This is an empty court. So coming in through the door, you can see it is an empty court. So you can see the seats are well arranged. Now let me take you to where the judge sits. Now, if it's a magistrate court, a high court, we have one person who is either the magistrate or the judge. This is the judge's seat. Behind the judge's seat is usually a door. It could be by the back seat or through the sides, depending. This is where the judge will come out from. This road leads to the judge's chamber. So now this is where the judge sits. And when the judge or the magistrate comes in, the audience, will rise. Lawyers fully robed with the litigant sitting, and they will bow together. Now, if it's a court of appeal, at the court of appeal or appellate court, we have 3 seats. For the court of appeal, 3 justices sit. Now, at the Supreme Court, 5 justices sit. If it's a constitutional matter or very critical matter, then the full panel will sit. So, but for the High Court, for the Magistrate Court, you see one person sitting. But in the High Court, when it's a family matter, sometimes you see 2 judges sitting. One could be a family court judge, or in some states they call them the court assessor or the family court assessor. They usually sit with the judge in some states, depending on how it is being run. But normally, it's a judge that sits or a magistrate that sits there. Now, there is a chair or a desk, usually in front of the judge. This is where the court registrar sits. This is where the court registrar sits with the court assistant, the clerk, and all of that. So it is here they will put all the files. It is the court registrar that calls the files, hands the files over to the judge. When the judge is done with any matter, they will collect it back, and they do the administrative work in the court. Now this court, the way it is arranged, in some courts, it's not like this in terms of where these 2 boxes. Now, in some courts, like in the magistrate court, one of these boxes will be at the back. But in some other courts, they stand side by side. Now, this one, usually the box that sits by the left side of the judge, this one sits by the left side of the judge, is called the witness box. This is where a witness stands to testify. Why the other one serves as the dock in the criminal matter, when they call the accused, this is where the accused will come and stand and, throughout the proceedings or throughout his or her proceedings. But note, as a law student, you must know that in the courtroom, that section of that stand by the left side of the judge, where the judge is sitting, is called the witness box. Now, you see these tables. Depending on the arrangement, most times, the way the tables are much longer, but in this one, it's also fair enough. This is where lawyers sit. Now, in a court, when you come in a court, you will see that the first row of where the lawyers sit is usually what reserved for senior advocates, who they call the SAN. So the SAN will call this first row, will call it the inner bar. The inner bar. So this first row is reserved for a senior or senior advocate. So whenever you go to court, you observe that lawyers intentionally leave this first row empty. It's very important. Now, at the back, lawyers will now sit. Then at the extreme is where the litigants. Litigants are those who have cases in court. They will now sit to observe proceedings. It's very important to know that when the court is sitting and you are to come in, you must bow. When a lawyer finishes his or her matter, about to leave, you have to bow. These are court ethics, etiquette. You have to bow. When you are in court, you switch off your phone. In many courts, I've seen where litigants and lawyers' phones were what seized. So it is expected that there is no noise in the courtroom. It's a very sacred place, and you must maintain the dignity of the place. When, for example, when they call your matter Mrs. This versus Mr. This, if you are in court, you signify by raising your hand or you stand for recognition. The court will note who is in court. Sometimes you see the judge asking the registrar, who is in court? The registrar will not answer, my lord, the claimant is in court or the defendant is in court. Whichever way, it's important to notify that you are in court. Sometimes you see instances where a lawyer is not able to make it to court. And you see when the witness stands up, the judge might ask, where is your lawyer? Is your duty to answer, my lord, my lawyer called in sick this morning, or my lawyer is in another court, he will join us shortly, or I called my lawyer, he promised to come, whatever reason it is, but I'm surprised my lawyer is not here. So the judges always give that opportunity to know why the person in was what is or was unrepresented. So with that way, the litigant has an opportunity to explain that fact. Now we have seen instances where someone is represented by a lawyer, but he wants to speak. We have seen instances where somebody will be raising his or her hand. My Lord, see me, my Lord, see me. Most times, my Lord do not accord respect or accord that opportunity for a litigant to speak when the lawyer is in court. Unless their lawyer is not in court. That way, my Lord will not say, okay, can I hear what you want to say? Because if your lawyer is in court and you're speaking, it is assumed you don't want the representation of your lawyer. So the court is always minded to know if the person that wants to speak, does he have a lawyer? The court will say, whatever you want to say it to your lawyer. That way, the court is encouraging that parties don't come to court and what sideline or overreach their lawyer. If there's anything you want to say, you say it through your lawyer. Yes, you say it through your lawyer. So in the court, in many courts, when you file processes, you come before that day of the court sitting to ensure that your processes are before the courts, they are in your file. Because some people have that bad habit of always, when the court is sitting, that's when they want to smuggle in one document or the other. No, a court is an orderly place. So you must appear orderly at all times. For lawyers, there are dress codes. For the ladies, there are dress codes. The way you pack your hair, the way your earrings, so you don't come and wear dangling earrings that will be making noise when you're talking. You don't wear clothes that expose your body. So there are decorum, the kind of shoe you wear, the kind of clothes you wear, how you look, your dressing as a lawyer. We have the way we dress. So you must at all times appear in that format. So being a lawyer is fascinating. Being a law student is also fascinating. The essence of you knowing what is obtainable in court is for you to have that idea before witnessing a live session in court or even going to court. So this video is just to explain to you what a court feels like or what happens in a court. And you must also note that when my lord finishes the court session for the day, you see the registrar will not say, court. The registrar is calling attention of everybody in court to rise that my lord has finished for the day. Everybody will rise and they will bow together and my lord will what? Exist. It's very, very important. Now, if you are doing your matter and people in court, in the courtroom, the lawyers in the courtroom are less than 3. When you're done, you sit back. What is you're trying to say or what you're trying to protect is the integrity of the court. The court cannot be sitting all by itself. So it is in practice, it is a practical thing or is an ethic of one of the ethos of the profession that when you are in court and people are leaving, remaining 3 or 4 people, you sit back and wait till my Lord finishes. You can't, the court can't be sitting for one person, or the court cannot allow you leave when the court is already empty. So sometimes you see lawyers who want to leave, the court will say, no, can you please sit back? So that the court will not be talking to itself. So it is assumed that as a lawyer, you must know that when the court is, people are reducing and many few people, you wait till the court finishes, or let the court gives you that permission to leave. You don't leave until the court finishes and cause the court to rise. So it's very important to know all these details. The Lawyers Info Hub is there to give you uh, demystify law contests for you, law practice, make it easier for you, simpler. We do all we can to ensure that you enjoy law practice in the most easiest or the most simpler way. We believe that demystifying law concepts gives you joy. When you understand something with clarity and it's easy for you, it gives you that joy that I can do this. But most times we see law as a Mount Hill. We see law as one very difficult thing. So people come to it with fear and it causes a lot of trouble. We have other videos on the channel. Please endeavor watching them. If you're yet to subscribe to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. Do stay blessed.